Hey, welcome to the channel, guys. Right here, if you guys are familiar with the channel, this is my Extreme Home Arcades MegaCade. Now, as you can see, I have a lot of stuff for the machine. I do some streaming. I have my camera, lights in the back. I have my mouse and keyboard, headphones, mic. If you look up top, I have my marquee that I use for streaming my Twitch and having my chat box up there. So I have a lot of things for this, and the reason for the video today is I have done a lot of work around my house and I just want to give some love to my MegaCade. So today I'm going to be doing some minor upgrades that could probably benefit a lot of other people. They probably have the same idea of what to do as here as well. As you see down in the below, I have some holders for my controllers. I have a direct line for Oculus Quest. I have a USB hub. Now this USB hub has been amazing ever since I installed it. It has about 8 ports and they're about 3.0 USB, so it's pretty fast when it comes down to download and upload speed. Now unfortunately recently there has been some issues with the ports that they might be going bad, so that's one of the reasons why I'll be upgrading it. Now I have my battery pack that's plugged into the USB hub, and then I have a display port that if I wanted to add another monitor, I can use that, or do some VR gaming, I can use that as well. But we're gonna get that tidied up, get it glued up on top so it's not dangling everywhere. And yeah, so we'll take a look and see what's behind. Now when we look inside the MegaCade, this is what's in the back of the machine. Now right here is my PC. Now this is not an Extreme Home Arcades PC. This is a PC that I actually built. Now I was given the PC. I just did a new PC and just upgraded it, added some stuff that I wanted into it. And if we look over here, this is a 5-bay port drive bay that I got on Amazon. It works great for all the new drives that have come in. So that's something that I've been using. If we look around too, we see some stripping for light. Now unfortunately with the light strip, I have to plug that into an outlet, and that's the reason why I'm doing some upgrades today, is that I have to plug it in outside the MegaCade and not within the MegaCade, so for me to actually get some light. Now if we look over here, this is the power strip that I have. As you can see, it is just full of plugins. There's no more outlets available, which is why I can't even plug in the lights. So my thing is I want to swap this out with something better, because this is honestly pretty cheap. This is something that you could probably get at Dollar General for a couple dollars, and honestly this is a very high quality build machine, so I kind of want to make sure that the outlets are as good as the machine itself. Now this is a power circuit. It seems like everything from the power of the surge protector is connected into here, so we're gonna have to consider that when we're upgrading this. And of course the wires are cut and split, so we're gonna have to figure out how they're gonna do it, because I need to make it exactly how it is. Otherwise, well, something can go wrong. So best case scenario is I get some additional outlets and some more power to this machine. Worst case scenario, well, I may never turn my machine on. So let's make sure that we get the wires corrected and that we don't cut things that we're not supposed to. So I'll definitely be analyzing that and making sure that we're doing it correctly. Now for the equipment that we'll be using, we're going to be using this 10-port USB 3.2 hub. Now this has 10 ports. It's amazing. It's going to be better than the one that I have. So it has 2 additional ones that are USB-C, which I absolutely love. And then right here, this is the new power surge protector, or the power strip. Now as you can tell, there is significantly more outlets that you can plug into here. It's more than double than what you are originally given, or at least for me. I don't know about everybody else, but I know I was given that little strip. Now the USB hub that I'll be upgrading it with is really nice. It's actually not as big as I thought it was going to be, but it does have some power buttons, just like the old one that I have right here. So you just plug in, put a USB hub in there, and you can just hit the power and it's just going to turn it on. If we compare the size, it is about the same size, so not taking up any extra room, but it's going to give you some more available USB hub, ports. An additional fact for this is that it does require power, so I am going to have to plug in to an outlet. As we look back here, we're going to look at the wires here. One we're gonna have to make sure that we have enough room back here as well, and figure out where we're gonna place this surge protector. And you can tell right here, it is pretty big. I gotta make sure it's gonna fit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's gonna fit, but we'll try and make it work. But in order to figure that out, I am going to have to remove this PC because I cannot see with this thing in the way. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, that USB hub is going to require an additional line of wiring, so I'm gonna have to make this hole a little bit bigger. So I'll be drilling into it, probably use a drill bit to go through it, and just make sure that I have enough space to put that wire through. Alright, so the fun part comes in is that we have our power strip. I have some wire cutters and wire stripping. So this wire, this is something you can find at Lowe's for maybe $10 to $15. Now I don't have the best tool for it, but it should be good enough to give us this. So we're gonna cut this off, and with 3 plugins we should expect to see 3 wires, as we see right there. So we have the green for grounding, we have white for neutral, and then we have black for hot wire. So I'm gonna have to strip this off a little bit. And of course, you want to be extremely careful when you're doing something like this, unless you have the proper tools, which I actually don't have right now. But this should be good enough to get the job done, because you don't want to cut the wire too deep where you're ruining the integrity of that wire. So you just want to be careful that you're not cutting it too deep. And what I'm doing is I'm using a technique of just cutting just the outer insulation and twisting around it, and hopefully being able to unsheathe that insulation. Yeah, so the next thing is I'm gonna get this PC out of here. So I'm gonna unplug all the wires and then just get this thing out. It's gonna be kind of difficult, but I wanna make sure I organize these wires too when you're doing it. Make sure if you're doing this yourself that you have it organized. Now that the PC is out, it does seem like it's going to fit on the side of the PC, that the PC is not too close to the wall on the left side, so that should be plenty of room. If not, then we could place it on the floor and just drill it into that. It might not be too bad. Now we go into the wires. I have disconnected it from the circuit, and it's as simple as just unscrewing everything. So give that a tug. We're just gonna take this out. It's very easy to just have that come out. So that's the hot wire. Now we gotta look at the neutral wire. And what I would like to do is I would like to see if I could tug this out. If I can, then that just means that it wasn't really connected properly, but that's fine. We're gonna fix it. Alright, so it all seemed pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to cut the wire, and then we're going to strip it later. So we're going to cut the neutral wire from this end, and just so that we can get an idea of how much room we're going to be working with in the wire aspect for the power surge. In case if I were to put the surge protector back to where it was. Okay. And now we'll cut the other end. Well, first I'm going to try and yank it out. See if I can, yep. Yeah, so it wasn't very secured, so that's fine. We're going to fix that. Yeah, you could always run into some issues if, you accidentally tug on the wire, it just pops right out. Next thing you know, you don't have any power. So we'll get that fixed. This one looks very good. It's very snug, so what I'm going to do is probably just going to have to cut the wire off on the grounding aspect of it. But otherwise, this is pretty good. And there we have it. We have all 4 of our wires. They're free. So one of the things is I'm gonna strip the wire, make sure we got enough slack, so when we do plug it in. So I'll be using this stripper right here. This should be perfect to be able to strip the wire and give us enough of that copper exposure. So just twist and pull. It's easy. Probably gonna need a little bit more than that. Let's see. And this is what I'll be using. I have the exact same hardware as EHA, so we're gonna be using this and we're gonna just clamp them together. I have this clamping tool right here, and it tells you what colors that you should be clamping in, so we'll be using the yellow for the yellow. Alright, so the next one, we could do a comparison. You look at the power strip, and you can see the massive difference. Obviously, the EHA one is very, very small, and the one I have is pretty massive. Alright, so this right here, if we look inside, I was going to break this open just to kind of get an idea of it, but I'm just going to cut this off because I am not going to be able to reuse this. There's definitely some other hardware out there, but we'll cut this off and we'll get it connected and eventually connect it into that circuit. Everything else we'll strip and we'll get it connected as well into the wire connector. When we compare the wires, we want to make sure that we have enough wiring length that's exposed outside the installation that's going to be able to connect to where we need it to connect. It does seem like it's about the same size. Probably add a little bit more space to it, but other than that, it should not be a problem. Alright, that's a perfect cut, and that's how simple it is. Once you get a perfect cut into it, you just unsheath it and you expose the wires and you start separating them. Now the easy part, we're just going to strip each wire, make sure that we get them fitting into their proper locations. Alright, now that we have all the wires exposed, get the matching. We want to match, make sure the length is just about right. Because once we place this wire inside, then we'll be able to adjust. And if it's going to be in the same location, we have to consider the length of the wires too, make sure they're at least the same size as what it was before. Alright, we've just cut the wires and now we have 3 exposed. We're looking at the neutral being the white, the black, and then of course the green, which is going to be the grounding wire. For this setup, we're going to be using the spade terminals. These will securely attach the wires, and it's important to ensure that they're not too much copper sticking out and just enough to make a solid connection. After trimming any excess, I'll just clamp up the connectors firmly using the yellow setting on the tool. And side note too, this is exactly what EHA is using, so that's what we saw earlier inside the MegaCade. So this should be a pretty easy swap out. Yeah, this one might have just a little bit too much copper, so I'm just gonna have to trim this off a little bit. Let's see, get my wire cutters. Just the tip. Oh my god. And I got it inside my socket, so I'll probably clean that up. Yep, that should be good. Should be good enough. We're going to use the yellow clamping section right there. So I'll just clamp this up. And that's just about right. Yep, that sounds about right. Just kind of like how EHA had it before, so just keep it exactly how it was. Yeah, these connectors are really cool. I got a bunch of them, so it kind of works out well. So when we do the grounding wires, we're going to have these connectors connect from one end to the other. So we'll get right into it. Just want to make sure I have the 2 on the neutral and the grounding wire. And then we'll get them all connected. Alright, so now we're back into the MegaCade. I already placed this surge protector in. It fits nice. I got some cable management in there. I've already mounted the surge protector inside the MegaCade. It's secured in place, and now I'll just organize the wires using the zip ties that I have placed right here. just to keep everything neat and out of the way. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect the wires to the circuit board. I'll use a screwdriver to secure each connection tightly, making sure there's no movement. For the ground wires, they are 2, so I'm just going to need to pair those together and attach firmly. We'll repeat the process for the neutral wires, ensuring all connections are secured. And I'm just going to place these behind all the other wires. Since this is just like the power source for the surge protector, I don't plan on using this or moving this around. So I'm just going to make sure it's behind all the wires, because the other wires, I'm probably going to move those more likely than the actual surge protector. Yep, and this is the connector. So I do have these wires separated, so I gotta make sure that they're merged together. So the grounding wires, I'm just gonna twist them together, and then I'll cap it off on one end, and then of course the surge protector grounding wire, I'll connect that on the other side. Clamping tool, we're going to be using the yellow section again, and we're going to clamp 2 times. Alright, that should be pretty solid. I'll give it a nice tug, and yeah, it's not going anywhere, so that is solidly placed. I will do the same for the neutral wire. I'm going to twist those in. Okay, so I got my connector. I'll just place that inside. Should be good. They look nice together. The other end, I'll plug that back in there too. And then, of course, we're going to clamp this off with my clamping tool. You can do 2 clamps or do 1. It really depends on making sure it's secured. So with the length, the amount of length that this has, I'm just going to do 2 clamps. Make sure I get it from one end to the other. Alright, give that tug, it looks good. And that's how I have my surge protector. It's right there. It's pretty good. It's definitely accessible. If I want to plug anything in there, I definitely have a lot of sockets right there. With the wiring complete, I'll just reassemble the MegaCade and start plugging all the power sources into the surge protector. Of course, keep the cable management. It is key. We want to make sure that it's organized and secured to prevent any accidental disconnections. Okay, to add a USB port, I've removed the control panel, and the next thing I'm going to do is just clean this up. I'm going to clear it up. Obviously, the PC has not been installed. This is probably the best time to put it together. I'm going to make this hole a little bit bigger, just because that USB hub, in order to install it, it is going to need a new power source. So it's going to need a little bit more room. So when I add that power source, it can go nicely into that hole. It's straightforward swap. Just make sure that the new USB port fits snugly and securely in place. Yeah, this is what I have right now. So about 8 USB ports. So I'm going to swap this out, and it's not going to be anything different. It's about the same size, so it's not going to be taking up too much room, and it's not really losing any space either. Well, everything's back in place, so it's time to power up the MegaCade and check that all the connections are secured and plugged in. I have that USB hub. It's a little dark, but it's there. It should light up once I turn everything on, so there's no problem there. I'll check it out in a second. But I got it glued down with Gorilla Glue and Gorilla Tape. It usually works really well. But as you can see with the PC in there, it doesn't take up too much room. It definitely leaves a lot of open spots for you to plug in any new outlets. Alright, so this is the moment of truth. Everything is plugged in. It's all set up. So I have the lights and everything plugged into the surge protector. Got my streaming stuff over there. Maybe I'll stream later. Yep, that's what it looks like. Everything. Got my nice little kick plate. So all this should light up. Okay, as we turn on the power, the light should come on. See, moment of truth. There you go, there's some lights. Looking good, that's a good sign. So far it's looking pretty good. Windows should be beginning to load. And that's going to indicate that everything is functioning correctly. So we are having power. So no issues with that. The LEDs are working, so everything's connected. And of course, there's a lot of connections that you'll have to put back together. So make sure you're labeling it if this is your first time putting it together. Now I've done this a few times. I've disassembled my MegaCade, reassembled, so it's not too much of an issue, but the first times it can definitely be pretty difficult. Take pictures, whatever you need to do. So look in the back. Everything seems to be functioning pretty well. PC's on. Drive bays look good. Alright, looking good. Big box should open up soon. My intro video, Mortal Kombat game. Yeah, probably get a new marquee intro video that's DJ's content, so I'll probably get something new, more of a high flocko FMW, more style right now, I'm DJ more. Alright, so it looks like I may have had, once again, unplugged, that's the USB hub. Yep, so there's no power, so the cool thing about this is there are plugins or push buttons to power them on, which section you want, so you can see when I'm pressing, turn the power on these little USB ports. So with that being done, now it should work properly. Alright, and that's it. As you can see, the MegaCade is running, so it's looking pretty good. Got the lights on down there, and if we take a closer look at the USB hub, it is looking pretty good. I got my plugins right there, wireless adapter, all the streaming stuff in there. So it's all running very nicely. But thanks for sticking around, guys. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed what you saw, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I do a lot of live streaming on Twitch. So if you want to see some horror games or maybe some random games, if you're into that, feel free to follow me on Twitch for more content. And if you found the information I shared today is helpful in the MegaCade details, I'd really appreciate a like or subscription. It really helps out the channel a lot. So if there's anything specific you want to see in the future videos, drop a comment below. Let me know what you like and what you want to see more of, and I'll do the best to make some more content for you guys. Your feedback does mean a lot to me, and it helps me create better videos for you all. So once again, thanks for sticking around, and I hope you see you in the next one. And happy gaming.